Hello learners, in this lecture we are going to learn about scheduling in Revit. So whenever you need or you require a schedule for any element or material to be prepared, you can create a schedule using Revit also. It's a model based schedule. So whatever model you are going to prepare, the scheduling would be dependent on the model. So the scheduling or the quantity takeoff would be a model based takeoff. So let's start and go ahead creating a schedule. So we'll take an example of wall, door, and windows. So let's start with creating a wall schedule. So you can find the schedule in the project browser. Okay, here. So by default we have area schedule, room schedule, and view list. So if you want to create a new schedule, simply select the schedule quantities and right click. So here you have couple of options like creating a schedule and creating a material takeoff. So what is the difference in between these two? We will have a look shortly. So let's go ahead creating a new schedule. Okay, so if you want an element wise schedule, you can go with the first option. If you want the material that is related with that particular element, if you want the materials takeoff as well, so you can go for material scheduling or material takeoff. So you have option of creating schedule from here, or else go to the view tab, and here we have schedules. So click on the drop down menu or the drop down option. We have schedule quantities and material takeoff. You can create a sheet list, view list. Okay, as we have view list here. Similarly, you can create a sheet list, that is, it will represent all the sheets, its number, its data, and all related parameters can be pulled using this sheet list. So we are going to deal only with these two options. So schedule quantities and material takeoff. So let's like whenever you hover your mouse on the first entity, that the node reads as creates a key schedule or a schedule of building components, and whenever you hover your mouse on material takeoff, creates a list of sub components or materials of any Revit family category. Okay, so here materials are involved, and here the quantities deals with the building components or simply the elements of the model. So let's go ahead and create a wall schedule. So click on the schedule quantities. So here we have a couple of options to begin with. So first is the filter list. So we have multiple disciplines. As you can see, there is architectural discipline, structural discipline, mechanical, electrical, piping, infrastructure. So as we are dealing with the architectural part, let's filter the elements based on the architectural discipline. So if I select the structural discipline, you can see the categories are increased. So it will count both the architectural and structural categories. So if you want the mechanical categories as well, so when you select the mechanical from the list here, then mechanical categories are also included here. You can see here electrical fixtures, ducts, electrical circuits, etc. So let's discard both of them and keep architecture as of now. So from here we have to select the category of the elements that we are going to schedule. So as we are going to see the walls, so you need to search for walls in this list. So category of the element is wall. So here we have the wall. So you can name it as per your preference. By default, it will have the category name, and uh, the suffix would be schedule. So if you want to rename it, you can rename it from here, or else keep it as it is. So let's go and hit OK. Here we have a couple of more fields available, that is select available fields from. So either we can select the fields from wall category or structural material or project information or analytical data. So let's go ahead and select the wall. So you can see whenever you select wall here, all the parameters that are linked or associated with the wall category are available here. If I change and turn it to structural material, you can see the parameters are now changed. So it's depending on the the structural category, structural material category, and all the parameters are now different that we have seen. Those were associated with the wall. So if you want to change for project information, so here we have the parameters that are dealing with the project information. So you can pull that as well. So here we have 4 different categories from where information can be pulled and can be clubbed together into a single schedule. So let's go ahead and deal with the wall first. So, and under the wall category, we have these many fields to play with. So you can choose any of the field, or rather the parameter, as per your requirements. So if you want any of the fields, you can use it. So let's go ahead using the base constraint of the wall, and let's move ahead. Let's take the family and type name of the wall. Let's take the length. Let's take the top constraint. Let's take the volume and width as well. Okay. And let's take the unconnected height. So as we have seen, we have used means we have pulled the required parameters from the entire available list. So we have pulled base constraint, family type, length, etc., etc. You can adjust the parameters up and down from here. If you want to move a certain parameter above, you can move it. You can just change the order here. So if you want the length at the bottom, so let it be here, and let's take the height here. So we have family type first, then we have base offset, base constraint and top constraint. Then we have its length, width, unconnected height, and volume. So unconnected height is nothing but the total height of the wall. So whenever you click OK, we have a schedule generated. We have a schedule generated. So now it shows family type and name as the first column, base constraint as a second, top constraint as third, and etc. This column will start from left to right depending on the fields that we have chosen. So if you want to check the fields that you have chosen again, you have the properties of the schedule, go to the fields, and here you can check. So we have the first field or the parameter as family type. So the column A would be family and type. Second is base constraint. So B would be base constraint, and so on. So from here, you can choose all the required parameters that needs to be included in your schedule. So we have the family type, family and its type, okay, and we have its base constraint, its top constraint, length, width, and height and volume. Okay, so like this, we can create a wall schedule. So let's move ahead and try to filter and sort this wall schedule. So if you want, you can even check or highlight this element into your model. So if you select this one and go to 3D view, you can see this particular element is highlighted. Or else you can just select this one and use highlight in model tool. So it's highlighted. Okay, so this is that particular wall that we have selected. Okay, or else you can just select this one, and if it's an exterior wall, it would be popped up like this. Or if it's even a exterior or interior wall, you can access that wall in a floor plan view as well. So any wall that any element you will select in a schedule, that would be highlighted into a model as well. So this is that particular the wall that we have selected in the schedule. So you can cross check your elements, their base constraint, top constraint like this as well. So if you want to filter or sort your schedule, so we can do that as well. So here we have filter and sorting or grouping option. So let's click on the filter. So you can see the schedule parameters can be toggled here. So whatever you are seeing in the properties panel, those are all available here. So if you want to, by mistake, if you have selected filter and want to move to fields or sorting, you can just toggle in between the uh, keys available here. So if you want the fields, select the fields. If you want the filter, select filter, like this. Okay, you can toggle in between all the properties that are available. So now let's filter. If you want to filter any wall, you can go by using the filtering option. So let's use a filter saying I want to see the schedule only for the walls having base constraint as 0. So let's go and check here. Do we have a base constraint? Yes, we have. And let's create a filter like stating the base constraint equals level 0. So we want to check what all walls are present in the with the base constraint as 0. So whenever I create a filter saying my base constraint equals level 0, so when I click OK, only the walls that have base constraint as 0 are visible in my wall schedule. Okay, so previously there were multiple walls which were having base constraint 0, 1, and level 1 as well. So as we have applied the filter, and the filter was base constraint equals level 0. So we have the schedule containing walls that have only base constraint as level 0, and rest of the elements or rest of the list is not displayed in my wall schedule. Similarly, you can play with multiple things. So let's say uh, now we can further filter this list. Even we can like filter this list further. So if you want to check the height or width maybe, so let's go ahead, like filter further by unconnected height equals 3000. Okay, so we have filtered first the wall elements with the base constraint as level 0, and further we have filtered the wall elements by the height parameter. So only the walls that have height equals to 3000 are only visible, and rest of the elements are not visible in a wall schedule. So you can work out the filter in any way you want, or you can just select a value here greater than or greater than or equal to, less than or equal to anything. So if you select here, instead of equals is less than 3000. Okay, So we have only two entities, two wall elements that have height less than 3 meters. Okay, so in this way you can play with the filtering options. So when you want the default schedule to be visible, just select none here and hit OK. So our original wall schedule is now displayed again. So let's move ahead for sorting the elements. Now let's sort these elements. So under the drop down we have sorting the elements by family and type, base constraint, top constraint, length, width, volume, unconnected height, etc. So we have these parameters to play with. So let's sort the walls by family and type. So all the unique family and type would be clubbed together, and all the means all family and types in multiples would be disappeared from the list. So let's go ahead and create a sort by option, family and type, ascending order. I want a footer at the bottom. So should it include a title, counts and total, title and totals, counts and totals only. So you can play with these four options. And if you want a blank line in between, so you can keep a blank line. Now hit OK. So you can see firstly, the family and type sorting is used. So we have the first family and type sorted here. So we have total number of 10 entities of 215 thickness external wall. And then we have a wall partition of 75 standard, and the count is 14. And we have two curtain walls of empty curtain wall, empty type. We have two numbers. So the sorting is done based on the family type that we have chosen. So if you want to sort it further, you can do that as well. Now, if you want to sort the wall elements on the basis of wall family and type first, and then on the basis of base constraint, so you can do that as well. So let's go to the sorting and grouping again. Now, then by, so first we have sorted the wall schedule based on the family and type. Now we will go ahead and sort the schedule based on the base constraint. So let's keep the footer, make a blank line. Okay. So we can see the schedule is now sorted first with the family and type and then with the base constraint. So we have base constraint as level 0 for all these four walls, level 1 for these six walls, level 0 for these six walls. As you can see, the type is different here. Again, for the similar type, the base constraint is different. So we have another partition or grouping created here. So likewise, you can make use of filters, sortings, and groupings for creating your wall schedule more informative or easily understandable or readable to another users. So let's move ahead. Under the sorting, if I just uncheck this itemize every instance, okay, so if I just uncheck this itemize every instance, so here notice the change, what happens. So here currently there are 4 entities. If I just, and here we have 6 entities, so just uncheck this itemize every instance option and hit OK. You can see the count is still 4, but it has not itemized every instance. So it has clubbed all the entities or elements based on the family and type as a single one. So we have a single family and type entity, but the count would reflect that there are 4 entities of this particular wall type and for this particular base constraint. So if you see here, the length varies because all the 4 walls have different lengths. So the length varies. As the width is same, the value is 215 as the top constraint and base constraint are same. So we are able to see the values correctly. But as the height varies, as the volume varies, so the value here is means the displayed as varies. This is just because all the 4 walls have different volume and height and length, so it doesn't exactly show an average for all of them. Instead, it shows varies. So if you just go and select the format sorting and grouping again and hit itemize every instance once again, you can see there was a difference in height, length, and unconnected height as well. So and volume, sorry, even volume. So there was a no varies text for length and unconnected height and volume. Width was constant, so we are able to see 215 as width, and those elements means those entities were constant for all the 4 was, those were displayed correctly, but those entities which were variable, so the text was varies. So in this way you can check sorting and grouping. So let's move ahead. And regarding the formatting, you can use formatting for all the parameters or the fields that you have chosen. Okay, so if you want to change the heading orientation, you can do that. You can change the alignment for it, you can do that from here. Or if you want a conditional format, you can check here. Or else you can use the like you can change the project settings as well. So if you want to use different settings apart from the project, you can use a custom text here. So likewise, you can format any of the uh, parameters that you have chosen. Let's say you go to field format for the unconnected height, and under the field formats you will have units. So currently we are using the project standard units. So let's check it out. My unconnected height has a precision of 3 decimal places. So I don't want 3 decimal places to be visible. I want 0 decimal place visible. So let's go and select the parameter first, that is unconnected height. Go to the field format, uncheck the use project settings. Let the units be that is millimeters, and rounding off set to 0 decimal places. If you want a unit symbol at the end, you can use it, or else just skip it. Let's click OK and OK. So now you can see there is no third decimal or any decimal places as a precision here. You can use that as well. If you want the volume not shown as a unit in meter cube, so if you want to change that, you can do that as well. Go to formatting and select the volume and go to field format. Instead of cubic meters, you can go for cubic feet, cubic inches, likewise. So let's go with cubic feet. We don't want any decimal places. If you want the symbol, you can keep the symbol. Hit OK, hit OK. Now, even my all the values are in meters, okay, but my volume is shown in cubic feet just because we have changed the formatting. So likewise, you can change the formatting for all other elements or parameters. So let's move ahead. Now we will see what is appearance. Appearance is nothing but the appearance of overall scheduling. Okay, so here if you want the grid lines as a theme or any line style that we have chosen or that is default available in Revit, you can create any new line style as per your preferences, or you can use any one of the default line style. So let's go ahead with the line style as a thin line. If you want to create the outline, you can go with creating the outline. If you want to stripe the rows, if you want to color first row, likewise you can color it. So here we can select the color. Let's keep it as yellow. And if you want to show the title, it's on. If you don't want to show the title, let's uncheck this title text. You can just change the font and font size and font style as well from here. Similarly, you can do the same for header, and similarly you can do the same for the body text. So you can change the size of the text as well as the font from here. So let's keep OK. Now you can see we have changed the colors in the form of stripes. So there is a white and there is a black here. If you want to rename any constraint or any parameter from here, you can do that as well. So let's make it as wall top, and here we will change it to wall base. So you can even rename the parameters from here. So in this way, our general scheduling works. So here was an example of wall schedule. So let's go back. When you close this one, your schedule will be still present in the project here. Like if you want to open it, double click on the wall schedule. Your wall schedule is still open here. If you want to open it, just right click and open in this way as well. So let's go ahead and create a schedule for door or window. So let's take an example of door. Go to the schedules. As we are dealing with the elements, so we will go with the first option. If we are dealing with the material takeoff, we have used the second option. So let's go ahead and select the quantity schedules, and from here we need to select the door category. So we have selected the door category, and if you want to rename it, you can rename it, or else keep it as default. Okay, so here also we need to select the parameters or the fields that will be used in creating the schedule. So what do we need? We need the family and type, and we need the count. We also need the let's say height. We need the seal height, and we need the width for this door, and even we need the levels at which the door is associated. So we have these parameters filled. Now let's click OK, and we can see there are few doors. All means few are at level 0 and few are at level 1. Then we have its height, seal height displayed, and width displayed. So in this way we can get a schedule for door as well. So if you want to filter it, sort it, you can do it as we have seen in the case of wall. So let's filter it out based on the levels. So I want the count of doors that are present on level 0 and level 1 separately. So let's go to filter. No, for creating a like we need to display the schedule having level 0 and level 1 separately. So for that case, we don't need to go for filter, we need to go for sorting and grouping. So here select the level we want to footer, showing title, counts and totals. Keep a blank line in between both of them. Okay, so here we have the count as 7. So there are 7 number of doors at level 0 and 6 number of doors at level 1. So if you go and select itemize every instance uncheck and okay, so you can see there is a single count. As here the family and types varies, so we don't have any exact identification for the family and type for all the 7 count, because the family and type varies for all the 7 doors. If it were to be unique, so the family and type would have been correctly displayed here. But as there are different family and types for each of the 7 door, the various text is displayed. Same condition is here. Okay, as the height of all the doors and sill height for all the doors here is same, so the data is correctly represented, or else we would have received a text as seen here, that is varies. So let's go to sorting again, click on itemize every instance, hit okay. You can see, so in this way you can create a door schedule. Now let's see what do we mean by material takeoff. So we have created a door schedule and a wall schedule. So let's go back to wall schedule and just take a look at the fields available. So here we have all the fields that are related with the walls. Okay, but here do we find any material? Do we find any parameter or field that is associated with the material? No. So when you want to deal with the material takeoff, so you need to go for material takeoff scheduling. So let's click on the material takeoff scheduling, and from here select the category of walls. So here we will select the walls category, and here check the name. Previously we have the name as wall schedule because it was dealing with the wall element. So here we are dealing with the material takeoff that is related with the wall category. So hit okay. So here we have a similar type of patterns, parameters available. So let's go and select the base constraint, family and type, length. Now you can see we have material parameters as well. So we have the material area here, we have the material volume, we have the material name. Okay, so we have all the stuff that are related with the material. If you want any extra fields or parameters to be included, you can use it. And let's move ahead. Let's use the top constraint and volume and width finally. So we have all these parameters that are required for creating the material schedule of wall. So let's move this volume ahead of the list, and width as well. So we have material parameters separately here. Let's move this top constraint here, and let's move the family and type at the top. So we have base constraint, top constraint of the wall, length of the wall, width of the wall, and volume of the wall. And then we have the material area, material volume, and material name. So let's take the material name above the material area and volume. Now let's hit OK. Now let's see what changes are there. So for this particular wall type, the material is a material name and material volume and material area is nothing but the layers that are associated with that particular wall. Okay, so here we have the material as common brick. The material name is common brick. The area is 27 meter square and the volume is 5.77 meter cube. So in this way, you can find the material wise quantification, its area, its volume using the Revit scheduling. So let's take out the fields that are related with the wall. So we don't need the wall data here, just we need the materials for each particular type of family and type. So for this particular type of wall, we have materials associated. So here we have only a common brick layer for 215 mm thickness. So if you go below, you can see there are a couple of more layers added for partition walls. So we have plaster, air infiltration barrier, etc. So each wall has different layers. So all the layers data, that is their material name, their material area and volume, has been calculated separately. So if you want to filter it out or format it out, you can do that. Let's go and format by family and type. Let's go with footer, blank line, and then by material name, footer, and blank line. Okay, so here we have filtered material takeoff by the virtue of family and type first, and then by material name. So this wall only has material of common brick, and here we have air infiltration barrier, and for that we have the area and volume. Then we have plaster as well. So this partition wall is made up of two layers, that is air infiltration barrier and plaster. So in this way, we can find the materials, like the material data, like the total quantity of material, its area, volume, that is associated with each wall element individually. Okay. So if you want the total count of material, so total count of brick material, that is brick area and volume required for this particular set of walls, so you can count that as well. So go to formatting and here count totals. So here we can select the entity and here we can see set it as count totals, and here also we can set it as count totals. Okay, now you can see this much meter square of material, that is 185 meter square of material is used for these 10 number of walls, and the total volume for this 10 number of walls is 39.22 sorry, meter cube. So for the other type of materials also, we can have different areas and volumes total calculated. So for this particular partition wall, the overall plaster quantity required for 14 number of walls is almost 340 meter square of area, and the total volume is 4.23 m cube. As the thickness is less, so the volume is less. So in this way, you can calculate the areas, volumes, and the material name for all the elements that are associated. So in this way, we conclude the scheduling chapter. Hope you enjoyed learning. Thank you.